And we are recording. Good evening, everybody. This is Aaron Burr out of the deep, dark blue state of California, San Diego, the city.
And I'm Blake Lincoln, straight from the Soviet snowfields of northern Minnesota.
And you guys are listening to the Free Thought Doctrine. All right, so as everybody knows, it's November 11th, 2020. So happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. And as everybody knows, coming off our last episode, the election has gone, and although the media has crowned Biden King of America, we're still waiting results. None of the states have officiated any of their counts. There are recounts going down, canvassing, and the Trump campaign has litigation going through. Our hope is that he has enough evidence to make it to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court will accept it, and then they'll decide in a favorable way for us freedom-loving, right-leaning Americans. With that being said, the talk of the country right now, if you listen to the media, is unity. Right, the left's all about unity.
No,
Now,
yes, unity. Yeah.
unity. We all need to come together and unite. Right.
Not the Rick James song, by the way.
So what they mean by unity, you will comply. You will accept these results completely, 100%, and you will not question it. That's what they mean by comply, or that's what they mean by unity. Comply. What say you, Blake?
Oh, yeah, you're pretty much dead on. I mean, it's my way or the highway, basically. And it's going to be, we talked about on a previous episode about the whole gaslighting effect, and I believe that's really the thing they're going to try to do here is they're going to make it sound like it's, kumbaya, everybody's happy, but then the people that are still dissenting, the people that are still angry, they're going to be, oh, why do you have a problem? We're just trying to unite people. We're just trying to be happy. Why are you guys so angry? And that's really their plan, and I believe that's been their plan since the beginning.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about is happening right now, right? As we speak and as we breathe, the gaslighting is happening, right? And I mean, just think about it for a second. Let's think about the last 4 years, right? So, one half of the country called the other half of the country racist, bigots, white supremacists, full of hatred, driving hate, pushing hate, all these kind of things. And then now, though, everything's all, blue skies, sunny days, and we're all supposed to come together and, hug each other and say, it's all good. That was just how it was because a guy that
That
we
was
didn't like was in power.
yeah, it's just a totally normal election. Nothing went wrong. It's just another election.
Yep, everything
Everybody
was
just get
normal.
to be friends again. Nothing happened. It's okay. Nothing to see here.
Just move on, move on.
Move on.
Um, Now, here's one thing though: is they say come together, right? But let's see. You have the great AOC out of New
Oh
York, right?
yes.
The
Oh,
fair-minded, very forward-thinking
the
AOC.
yeah, the bartender, right? Yeah, that's her.
Let's see. So she says a tweet: "Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writing photos in the future." So essentially, what she's advocating right there is Soviet-style recording of people who disagree with her. Right? That's like
Yeah, it's
archiving, and that's complete Soviet-style.
the
Uh,
enemies list.
Enemies.
Having an
It's a hit
enemies list.
list. It's a hit
Yeah.
list. Exactly. Like, is she so blind to her ways that she doesn't even now? I mean, this is a public thing. This is a public thing on Twitter for the whole world to see, and
Yeah.
she's advocating a list.
I mean, you had people on the right that were supporting it. A lot of the anti-Trump people were retweeting it and responding like, "Yeah, we already have a list of Trump's lawyers and Trump's advisors who will make sure never work again or will
Yeah, basically
suffer
they're trying to
serious
blacklist people.
consequences."
They're trying to
Yeah,
blacklist people. At the minimum, they're trying to blacklist people, right?
yeah,
Let alone your average American supporter, that was a
yeah.
Trump supporter, right? So all I'm saying is that right there is dangerous, and she's either too ignorant or too blind, or is malicious straight up in putting that
Oh,
out.
she's not. No, this isn't ignorance. This is calculated. These people
Calculated.
know what they're doing.
It's coordinated. You
Yep.
know. And then I want to move on to Michelle Obama, right? She's like the darling of the left, right? I'm sure they're going to push her as president one of these days. She might even have a post in Biden's cabinet, right? So she had
Secretary of Exercise.
this something. Um, hold on, I'm trying to look. I got this quote up here. Um, she said, of course, now that I need to bring this quote up, I can't find it. Um,
Believe it had something to do with reaching out to people, right? We need to
yeah.
reach out to people we disagree with, but she didn't say it like that. Correct.
No, she didn't say it like that. She did not say it like that. It's basically an incoherent attack, and then trying to come around and just like everybody else telling us to, um, that we need to be united. That even though we've clowned on you guys and torn you guys apart in when it comes to your views and who you vote for. Um,
Yeah, we've completely trashed your character and reputation and your livelihoods. But, we want to reach out to you and make
Look,
sure that
yeah, I
you're
got it right here. I
okay.
got it right here. So this is what she
Yeah.
says on Twitter, right? Let's remember that the tens of millions of people voted for the status quo, even when it meant supporting lies, hate, chaos, and division. We've got a lot of work to do to reach out to these folks in the years ahead and connect with them on what unites us. So, again, if someone was to sit there and just think about it, just say you're out in public and someone comes up to you and calls you a racist, a hater. You support you support subjugation of people that don't look like you, and you're a white supremacist and all this, and then what, they blink their eyes and, oh, but we need to come together and unite on what we agree on.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
how does
in
that
this
make any
case,
sense? Is what I'm saying.
yeah, no, I think it's what she's saying and a lot of what the left is saying is it's code for it. Reaching out means silencing, really.
Absolutely.
Um, they want to make sure that there is no dissent.
It's cancel
Uh,
culture
they
happening
want
in the moment. You know what I mean?
and big tech and social media has already been on top of this in case anybody hasn't noticed.
Absolutely. Well, some
But
people
they
are in
just
complete denial of that, or say that
no,
that
it's
the right is just complaining.
no, it's
You know?
absolutely. I mean, for even on election night, my own Facebook feed was really just silent from any political news about the election. Did not show up for a good 24 hours.
Wow.
That I mean, I was blacked out of all that stuff. Some of my friends, I was getting friends posts from like 2 days before. It was just it's
You
like
know
they
what?
shut it all
You're right,
down.
because I saw a lot of that, like 3 days, 5 days before posts and
Yep, they
stuff.
shut
Yeah.
it all
I
down.
didn't,
They
you know, I
didn't
didn't
want
even make that
anybody.
connection.
They didn't want anybody talking about what was happening.
I didn't even make that connection to right now, to be honest with you.
Yep.
That's true.
So
So,
I'm sorry. I know it's disheartening, but it's big tech has a lot of people by the nether regions, and I think that's something that we need to think about in the future is whether or not things like Facebook and Twitter are really useful for public discourse or not.
I mean, I would say no, but I do know,
No.
I know a lot of people that at the same time they say, oh, I hate how people, complain about social media on social media.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I mean, social media, at least these big companies, are more like public utilities and should be treated as such. So right now they get to be treated like like a phone company, right? Like they can't, like a phone company can't crack down on what people say, right? But they well, okay, I kind of
They're
screwed
basically acting
that.
like they're basically acting like publishers.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
They're no longer a free platform. They're acting like publishers of a book company,
Exactly.
dictating about what goes into any kind of written document on their platform, which is fair if that's what they want to do. But if they go that route, then there's obvious regulations and standards that they have to go by that they're not necessarily doing yet.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's again, it's that cancel culture. It's that you will comply, you'll conform to how we think and what we, what we're saying. Like you must agree with our viewpoint, our worldview, essentially. Um, and with all this being said, I think a win of Biden by the establishment will set these things that's going on with big tech. It will like cement these things into the culture. At least that's what they're hoping for, right? And that reminds me of the fact that we still have, at the moment, we still have a divided government to at least combat that with the Senate, right?
Yeah.
But as people may or may not know, there is a situation in Georgia with the runoff where over there the senators have to reach at least 50% plus one to win their races, and that did not happen. And so there's going to be a Georgia Senate runoff, right? And as we stand now, if we were to lose both of those seats, right? Because both seats are up, Republican versus Democrat, Republican versus Democrat. So if the Republicans lose both those seats, it brings it to the Senate to a 50-50 majority. And if anybody's aware of the fact that the the vice president is also the president of the Senate, and in this case would be Kamala, so you'd have a 51-50 majority, right? So
Look at you speaking civics. I didn't know they taught that anymore.
well, they don't. That's I
No.
mean, just look at all
Yeah,
the people that
exactly.
understand how federalism and the government works. So,
Yeah.
but you know, the fear is if that happens, that means all the things that Biden, the Democrats, and the left have been fighting for in this election, right?
They'll get it all.
He'll get it all. And I mean, what was the reason we're against Biden and the left in the first place? What were some of the policy reasons? Because those reasons are going to go through. And I would say I would qualify that as the Californiization of the country. And what is the Californiization of the country? It's one party rule. It's the things that happen in with one party rule. You could also look at all the major cities, all the big cities, and just like the state of trash that a lot of them are in. Right?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Well, that's completely accurate. I mean, I'm from Colorado originally, and I can tell you that's exactly what has turned Colorado into that same kind of scenario where it essentially is one party rule, and they've made it now so where it's so powerful that even the Republicans or any kind of dissenting party, you'd have to spend millions, if not $1 billion, just to be competitive in one of those states.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Like, look at California. Like, the Republicans are nothing, right? The state
yeah,
is owned, locked, stock and barrel by the Democrats and by the left. I mean, yeah, you might get like a Republican, congressman here and there in certain districts, and some cities might have a Republican in name only in charge, but they're definitely not. They're definitely moderate at best, and for the very most part, the state is owned by the left. I mean, look at the popular vote, right? The election, like everybody, all the people who don't understand how electoral college works, they point at the popular vote and go, "Oh, look, well, he won by 75 million to 71 million, like Biden did, right?" But then look at California, where Biden won by like 4 million plus votes. So all those extra votes came from California. You know what I'm saying? Like
all
it's
right. Why do you think they want to get rid of the electoral college in the first place?
Oh,
Then
exactly. Because then that way, California will determine our elections from that point on, right? But the thing is, they're already, if they get this 50-50 control of the Senate, then all those things are going to happen anyways, right? I mean, they want to, they'll increase the amount of senators they have by making Puerto Rico and DC states, which will give them more Democrat senators because those are blue areas, right? They'll get a they'll pack and rotate the Supreme Court to make sure that that's just a partisan ally on their side, right? I mean, basically the massive growth of the state. A lot of it, though, was happening prior to Trump, and some during Trump for sure, but definitely was increasing rapidly during the Obama years and the Bush years before that, with this massive growth of the state, the massive growth of the government over the individual, and essentially embracing socialism. That's what we're going to get. Like starting with like nationwide lockdowns, right? Let's lock. Even though the science does not prove that lockdowns work, even though the WHO, for what they're worth, which is not much, but they even said that lockdowns are not even conductive to society, right? And so basically, they want to drive small businesses and medium businesses out of business, empowering big businesses, right? And that way you drive all these people to the public dole, right? Because it's going to create more, depression and create more, essentially chaos. Because remember we talked about before, out of chaos order, and now they could swoop in with massive public programs to get people on the public dole, right? That's like number one, and then you could just start listing things one after the other. They want to come after fossil fuel and push their Green New Deal, plan and philosophies, which, we could sit here and do a whole show on that. But the fact of the matter is, you get rid of the fossil fuel industry, the fact that we are already independent with oil from the rest of the world under Trump, like first time in a very long time, and they want to get rid of that. They want to reverse that. And from the perspective of that will decrease our power as an economic and military power, I mean, to me, at face value, just for that alone, I would be against that. And then you have they want to get rid of there are a lot of different rights that they'll try to crush, including your right to self-defense, right? The national gun legislation, if you look at Biden's plan, it's pretty out there. He even wants to ban buying accessories online. So you want to buy a sling online? Yeah, banned. And then, let's not even forget about socialized medicine, all right? They want to have a public option, quote unquote, which is a direct path to socialized medicine.
Yeah, basically any program that they could help destroy the independence of the individual, they're going to go for, because ultimately that's the goal, is any kind of socialist approach to government they can take, they're going to use, just because they can't afford to have regular everyday Americans making a living and thinking for themselves and doing what they need to do for their families. They can't have that. They want, like you said, everybody on the government dime. They want to be able to control everyone, and ultimately that's the game.
Yes, it is control. Definitely control. Like, it is my belief that, I believe that in 2 years, it's very possible that, the Congress, the House and the Senate might very well swing back to complete control from the right. But in the next 2 years, I believe they would try to fast track and fast forward these massive government programs, right?
Oh yeah. Look how fast they pushed through Obamacare. They didn't even read it. They just said done.
Yeah, they said you have to. Was it Nancy Pelosi, right?
Yeah, we got to pass the bill before we see what's in it.
Yeah, you got to pass the bill before you see what's in it, exactly, right?
Let's just pass it. It's a surprise for everybody. Let's just see what happens.
Because that's how it's supposed to work, right?
What could possibly go wrong?
And then, so basically they're going to rush in a massive amount of high taxes, high regulations. They're going to cripple and encroach the economy, right? And they're going to push a welfare state. Right, because that's their means of control, a warfare state. Put everybody on the public dole. I mean, I've seen memes like saying, who are we gonna, Biden, who are we gonna bomb, who are we gonna bomb in the Middle East? Because I guarantee you, right, there's going to be a war in the next 4 years if Biden's at the helm. If the left, the Dems are at the helm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just wait till Hillary. I bet you Hillary Clinton's salivating about being Secretary of Defense.
Exactly.
She'd love that.
Exactly. Like it's the war profiteering will be back in action.
The whole deep state will be back in business. It'll be back to normal for them, not for everybody else, but for them.
For them,
business will be good.
Business will be definitely good for them, even though they'll probably curtail a lot of things within the military, but at the same time expanding their role in overseas adventures or whatever. But and then let's not even forget too another thing that and on this issue, I feel like Trump did not push this issue enough during this last reelection. Was they're gonna kick the doors wide open with open borders, right? Like
Oh yeah.
they're gonna be
Yep.
pouring in, which is you really can't have a welfare state and open borders, right? Because that's how you destroy a nation right there. That's how you Californiaize a nation. Because look at California. I mean, one reason they're in the situation they're in, you could easily argue, was that their open board policies with all these people pouring in and then giving them licenses so they could vote. That's one way they swung the state blue in a solid majority. At
I
least
mean,
that's an argument people can make.
it's really funny to me because Democrats can't seem to understand why they lost Florida in such an overwhelming fashion. And it's like, well, if you look at the Latino vote, what group of people live in Miami and South Florida? Cubans. They know all about socialism and they don't want to go back to it. That's why they're in Florida.
Exactly.
People are coming to the United States to escape the cesspool of Central America, not to go back into it.
Exactly. It's kind of like that thing where, and you could use this on a state level, right? Like, why would people move from a deep dark blue state and move into a red state, and then vote for the same people and policies and party that made their state the reason why they wanted to leave in the first place, right? It's the same kind of thing. Why would people want to come to America from these, cesspool countries, and then support the same kind of people and policies that they ran from?
It's the definition of insanity, is what it is.
It
Trying the
is.
same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. I mean,
Absolutely.
what are you thinking? At
It's,
what point are people going to wake up and say, "Hey, this doesn't work"?
it's just that's the argument they say with socialism, right? Like, oh well, these other countries like Venezuela and
Yeah,
Cuba,
this
and
isn't real socialism.
well, yeah, that wasn't real socialism. They just didn't do it right, right?
So then they just lock and reload and try it again. No, that wasn't. No,
But the thing is,
no.
they fail to realize that it was that worldview, that philosophy, that was responsible for, in the last century, for the deaths of millions of people, right? People being starved to death by the masses, and the systematic murdering of people, murdering dissenters, like they go, oh well, I'm not saying we're gonna pass a policy that does that. We're just trying to simply, give more money to the poor or whatever. But the whole point is the policies they fight for were the same policies that people in those countries originally fought for before those entities came into power. I mean, all you got to do is study the history of Marxism, and study the Bolsheviks or the Khmer Rouge, and study Maoism. It's the same exact story every single time. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
faster than others. That's all.
What was Mao's thing? What was it called? The Great Leap Forward.
Yeah,
That sounds uh, pretty awfully similar to something I've heard before, but I might be just hearing things I don't know. Maybe one of the viewers can tell us, but it sounds pretty similar to something we've heard before.
well, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, when we look at the situation we have right now, or at least the potential situation we have with essentially Biden having full control and power of the government, these certain policies are going to be fast tracked into society, right? And that's why, this is our first episode, right? And with this being our first episode, there's no huge glamour or nothing going on, but I am asking for unity on our side, right? And the way I see it is that all patriots, freedom loving Americans, conservatives, independents, moderates, moderate Democrats, and libertarians, that we do need to come together. All Trump supporters, more than ever, 71 million Trump supporters need to come together, right? Stop bickering, or turning against each other. I'm not saying that's going on, but I've kind of seen it go on social media, anyways. But we need to put aside any differences that we have, and essentially we need Tea Party 2.0. That's what it's time for. Like, we need a rally, we need to unite, and it would be really nice, but don't expect this to happen, for the GOP leadership to join the join the cause.
Yeah, I
You know what
don't
I'm
think
saying?
so.
But we need,
That ain't.
but we need to rally in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to make sure that we maintain a majority in the Senate, and if not, then we need to really stick together.
Well, the
You know,
left
in the
is. I
next
mean, and the left knows
couple
it
years.
too. You're absolutely right because the left is throwing everything but the kitchen sink down in Georgia. They've got all Hollywood down there too now. It's definitely a national race now,
Absolutely.
which means that all the Hollywood money, all the big tech money, all the power and influence is going to go there. So you are right. We need to unite and we need to support those candidates. They might be not in our state, but the cause is greater than that. It's not about just Georgia. This is about the entire country.
Exactly. Like, the results of this election will the results of the election in Georgia will affect all 50 states, right? And essentially the future of the country, and could very well ensure one party rule. You know, that's a worst case scenario, but it's definitely on the table if they take the Senate. All right,
Yeah.
50-50 with the one vote majority. Um, that's what we're looking at. So that's my call to action. I'm not, I'll say as a disclaimer, I'm not advocating any kind of, violence or anything like that. I'm just
No, no,
saying,
of course
of
not. No.
course not, but I'm just saying that we need to at least come together and stop, fighting each other. I've seen it on social media. I've seen people attack other people, on the right, or, in the middle, in the center. But I think now's the time, you know, as we wait the actual results from this election. Despite what the media and all these people are saying, things could change on that prospect, anyways. It's 100% possible that uh, Trump ends up winning litigation, winning in the Supreme Court. Right? I'm not saying it's absolutely 100% going to happen, but it's 100% possible. But it's also 100% possible we have to deal with the reality that Biden is in the office, and then Biden is in the office with majority of, or with the control of Congress, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully we can fight off in Georgia. I'm probably going to donate money at the minimum, but we'll have to see what happens. It's not. It's sort of a depressing time, especially with lockdowns about to go down for a lot of us in these blue states. Um, and all the things that can happen with that, with the huge rise in depression and suicides. You
Dark
know,
winter.
the dark winter, exactly. I mean, it's about to happen right here before our eyes. So I'm asking, a call of unity, of right leaning, center leaning, right of center, freedom loving, liberty loving patriots. Right, that we come together, that we don't bicker and no infighting, and I will also say this, that just being out in the community, and I am in a blue area, no one is no one is like there's no street fighting going on or nothing, right? Everybody's been pretty friendly, regardless of, I don't know what other people's viewpoints are or nothing, but I know that in my personal life, just interacting in the community, I haven't seen any kind of strife, and that's the kind of thing I would like to see, overall. If put aside any, just differences in um, opinion on certain things, and just come together. In that sense, I do call for unity. But mainly, we need to unite against the onslaught of the left and the onslaught to come, right? If they gain all these levers of power. You got anything with that?
I totally agree. And to go back to your point, in my community where I'm living currently, everybody's still going out. Everybody's going, living their life. Nobody's really talking about the election, going to bars, and everybody's just trying to have a good time. I think whether you're on the right or left, winner or loser, I think a lot of people are just fatigued about the whole process and the way this year has gone. And I think just to go more into what you're saying, not only do we need to unite, people on the right, but also I think, I'd like to see actual healing, like they say they want to. I would like to go maybe talk to somebody. I'd like to go back to the days where you could have a civil conversation with somebody you
100%.
were
100%.
where you
Yeah.
could have a civil discussion with somebody that you disagreed with without it turning into a shouting match and somebody wanting to kill someone. And
I
it's
totally
really
agree with you
sad.
there.
And so I think
I would love to, yeah.
in that regard, I think we need to reach out to our neighbors too. I would encourage people. I know I have. I've tried to limit myself on social media and tried to get out more. I've tried to actually talk to, real human beings. I'm not saying that, the people on Facebook aren't real, but it's not real human
It's not
interaction.
human interaction at
Saying.
all. Yeah.
But people need to just tune out the negativity and, go talk to your neighbor. Maybe it's somebody you disagree with and you might not like them for that reason, but I guarantee you, if you talk to them about anything other than politics, you might find out that we have more in common than we thought.
I agree, and I do believe that most people are pretty reasonable, right?
Oh,
And and
totally.
and and, and, and that dialogue can make a lot of inways, right? Towards real healing and real unity,
Well, that's
right?
when you have civil discourse, that's when you can have thoughtful discussions and debate, and that's where real solutions come from. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's that simple. I mean, it's not that simple, but it is. Like
Yeah, it is what it isn't, right?
when you, if you live in this constant bubble of thinking that your view is the only view and the correct view, and everybody else who disagrees is a fool, then you're doing a disservice to yourself, really, because it's a big world and everybody's got a lot of opinions, and yours probably, is just another one in a sea of millions. So,
Exactly, exactly. I actually love engaging with people who have different views from me. I love engaging with the left. I love, discussing and, debating your views with someone that doesn't 100% agree with you. Like I hope to bring someone eventually on this show that we could have peaceful discourse and, disagreements and stuff, and find the things that we do find in common on and build from there. At the minimum, at the end of the day, agree to disagree means a lot.
yeah.
You know,
And then, you agree to disagree, but then, hey, so and so had a nice idea. Maybe if I add that to my point of view, maybe we can come up to an even better understanding or a better idea.
yeah, it's basically
That's how it
diversity
works.
of opinions, right?
Yeah.
Diversity of views, diversity of opinions, and that's how the real unity. I mean, they speak of unity, they're talking about shut up and agree, shut up and do what we say. When we talk
They
about
don't, yeah.
unity, yeah, when we talk about unity, we mean literally let's talk to each other, let's have dialogue, and let's get to know each other, and then go from there.
We
So
want unity as Americans, not a political party. That's where it
exactly.
needs to go.
Yeah, I don't exactly. Overall, that is my end goal. In the short term, though, I do think us on the right do need to unite together and try to stop, a hurricane of,
Yep.
collectivism that might very well be coming at us.
The
But
the political fight is definitely still on.
the
That
political fight is still on. But overall, as human beings, as Americans, we do need to, let's have that dialogue and let's heal for real. With that being said, I mean that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. I guess I'd just like to say if we have any veterans listening, we really appreciate your service and we all hope you had a great Veterans Day today.
Absolutely, 100%. And with that, you're listening to the Fairness Doctrine. This was episode 1. Hope you have a nice night, and may God bless.